Good afternoon to all, dear professional colleagues, lovers of beautiful nails. This video will be just more for lovers of beautiful nails, because during the pandemic, many customers refused services in the salon and switched, so to speak, to self-service. In this video, I want to give some very useful, in my opinion, tips that will make your service easier for you at home. So, the first thing to do to trim the side rollers less is to sand the side rollers from the point B of growth along the lateral growth line, before applying the remover and in general before any manipulations. It is best to take a saw with an abrasive 180 or 150 grit, depending on the condition and hardness of the skin. Go first on the right sides of all the fingers, so you don't have to twist the hand and the file, and then in the opposite direction on the left sides. It will be much more convenient this way, and I repeat once again, after soaking you will have practically nothing to cut in these areas. In general, make it a rule to take this life hack even in the intervals between manicures. You can just sand the side rollers on dry, especially for those who have dry skin, and crackers in these areas are formed literally 2 or 3 days after the manicure. Next, we will move the cuticle. I work as a pusher, you can work with an orange stick. If you have the right pusher with such small rounded corners and not very wide, if you do not have painful sensations when working with the pusher, then you can push it away. If, after all, you have some discomfort during work, if it is inconvenient for you, and we also work with our left hand, we remember that a metal tool can slip off and injure the matrix from the nail. In this case, we take an orange stick and very carefully, slowly. At this stage you need to do everything very carefully, because if you miss this stage or do not pay due attention to it, then all the rest of the work will return just to this stage. You will constantly push back the cuticle and clean it, otherwise the tool will not pass. But if it still hurts, I advise you to apply a remover and soak. Only after that, push the cuticle away. So, we apply a bump and do not type as if with a spoon, turn it in the opposite direction, because the drop will stick exactly to the notch and thus it will be much easier for you to apply the bump to the nail plate. If you have an alkaline remover, then try to apply locally only to the processing area, where you will trim. Check before soaking that all the areas are wet, worked out with a remover, and after 20 to 30 seconds you can lower your hand into the water. Remember that the water temperature should be comfortable and the soaking time is 3, maximum 5 minutes, so that the skin does not go limp. Now, after soaking, we work again with a pusher. We clean off everything that has already been soaked in water. Carefully, no very pushing movements. Remember that the undulation on the nails is just obtained by such mechanical pushing, very carefully. Now we wet the hand and do not wipe it completely so that the water remains on the nails and the cuticle does not dry out. We process one finger at a time, so we also soak one finger at a time. Remove the moisture from the little finger. Do not spill and take the cutting tool.
So I hurried.
Note that the grip of the tool must be on top.
What can we do for 1,000 rubles?
There should be no jerking movements.
Visit the stars.
And here I want to draw your attention to the fact that the movements are all clumsy, very inaccurate. And this happens because your hand is not fixed, not the one you are processing and not the one you are processing. It is very important that both your hands are in a good rigid fixation. This can be done with the forearm or elbows on the table or close to the hands to fix the hands.
62 centimeters, just Olga Buzova.
Otherwise, you will get an uneven cut. You will constantly refine, as I just injured myself on this little finger demonstrating the work. First, you need to pull the side rollers. You always need to reveal the picture and the area where you work. Never put the instrument like this. Your tool should work along the nail growth line, clearly along the lateral line. The movements should be slow and smooth. With the removal of the tool. Now pay attention, with this part of the tool, that is, with the canvas of the left side, we seem to be glued to the nail plate and do not come off. We move back and forth without tearing the plate from the nail. This is the point of fixation, thanks to which your movements will be as accurate as possible. After making a cut, take out the tool along the way and in this way, with small translational movements of 1 or 2 millimeters, you will make an accurate cut. When there is nowhere else to turn the finger, turn it to another position. In general, do not forget that you can twist with your hand and do it so that it is convenient for you to cut, because the left hand, in principle, does not have a special technique, especially if we do it ourselves. Believe me, the masters also violate a lot of things. We perform manicures to ourselves and even violate themselves more than when they work for clients. For example, there should not be such a Christmas tree on clients when cutting, but it won't work on yourself in any other way. We are checking our slice. I see that there is still something to finalize. Yes, by the way, I like a deep manicure on myself. I sin this and I can't do anything about it, that's why it grows over me quickly and a lot. Well, fortunately I can get a manicure for myself. Now we are finalizing the areas where the tool has not yet reached the first pass. As a rule, these are areas in sinuses. Once again, there is no need to hurry. Checking, checking, checking. When we like everything, we can move on to the next finger. Do not forget to soak the skin, because it is extremely inconvenient to work dry. The tool will be blunt and you will not have a clear picture. If there are burrs somewhere, then we remove them right before we start working. Now again we put the tool at the point of growth and slowly, with slow movements along the growth of the nail. Remember that if there is no damage in the side rollers, it is impossible to treat the skin further than 1.5 to 2 millimeters along the side roller from the nail. There is no need to bite the skin, because it will form there to a greater extent. Now look, we glue the canvas to the nail and approaching the sinus, I remove the skin so that it does not interfere. Approaching the sign, we change the angle of inclination. I'm here on the thumb to show you how to determine just the place of the cut, so as not to make a larger cut. We put the upper canvas on the cuticle area, where this stripe line is. By the way, put the tool only with the canvases up, because they will be blunt. We put the canvas, I'm just showing it with a pusher here in this area and the cuticle opens, that is, the pocket rises and we can clearly see the cut line. If it is not clear, walk either with an orange stick or a pusher on it and print it. That's the way we capture and cut. I have a very sharp tool, I just need to pinch it in order to make a cut and walk on. For you to be sure, I recommend that you still output the tool by 2 or 3 millimeters in order to see exactly what you are cutting, how you are working. Look what a big hole I have on my nail. This is the white crescent. This indicates that I don't have a deep pocket and under the cuticle on my thumbs, so I definitely won't push away and cut something out from under the cuticle. I know this peculiarity in myself and I know that it will hurt me. In general, many customers are hurt on their thumbs and do not hesitate to tell your masters about it if you still visit the salon. If you do it yourself and, well, as a rule, we do not feel sorry for ourselves. Remember that these are painful sensations that indicate a micro-trauma of the nail that you apply. If after the cut you still have some small scales of skin on the surface of the nail, clean off with an orange stick or a pusher by water or by a remover and finish again with a pair of scissors.
coverage, because.
After processing with the tool, you can moisten it again in ordinary water. Yes, I forgot to tell you that you should not add any saline solutions or any soap solutions to the water when soaking, because all of them will additionally dry the skin. We need water just so that our remover will work for a long time and wash it off, and warm water slightly soaks our skin. We do not need to distort the picture on which we will work. Well, another tip for owners of dry skin. After processing with a cutting tool, slightly moisten your fingers in water and walk with a smaller abrasive. You can 240 grit or 180 grit on the side rollers in order to sand the cut. As a rule, in beauty salons, masters do this with a device, but in the conditions of the house, you can easily do it with a file.
The fact that the toilet was in disrepair.
The last movement.
And the third thing is that the laundry room was like a toilet. For me, it's always a minus in the salon, because when you.
And we are working on it.
I want to see a certain one.
It is extremely rare that after the first pass, everything is clean and sterile and there is no need to refine any small details. Sometimes the cuticle is so overgrown that you really have to make 2 passes, or even 3. Now a life hack for processing the right hand. This is a very convenient moment, and I advise the masters to do it in training. We wrap a napkin, which we use in manicure, on the finger of the right hand, on the thumb of the right hand. Put the skin so as to fix this napkin. Moisten the tip of your finger, squeeze lightly so that it is moist. We fix it and work in this way. We have already changed the grip of the tool. Look, the thumb should be positioned on top. We grab the first areas of the skin, glue the canvas to the nail again and go along the side roller. And in order not to dip our finger into the bath every time, we just walk through and soak the skin with this big napkin. It is always in a moistened state, in which it is necessary and does not dry out during operation. I hope you really like this life hack. Print in the comments how you visually like it or not. And then after you try it out, you can also leave your comments. This is the result we got. Oh, what is it? A crumb of skin. Well, this is the result on the right hand, what we did with the left. Subscribe, like and bell.